loving cat, and a wide skylight to the stars.
And a dangerously high to be reptile.
I'm Morgan, I use they, them pronouns, and I am a scientific horror you think is female, but is actually beyond your human comprehension.
I'm Soren, I use he, him pronouns, and I am blazed out of my mind during all of the horrors.
I'm Alex, I use he, him pronouns, and I am hundreds of evil mermaids trying to eat you.
Soren and I have been friends for over a decade, and the two of us are always swapping books.
Each fortnight, the two of us, sometimes with help from a friend, take it in turns to recommend one another a favourite read. The first time reader tells us what they know about the book, makes some predictions about what they don't, and then we discuss our thoughts with all of you bookworms. For Moist Month, we're reading weird and watery books.
So today, let's get to talking about
Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant.
Here we are, Moist Month 2.0.
Moist Month 2.
Very exciting. Electric Boogaloo, one could say. And we are here with lovely friend of the show, Alex.
Hello.
Tell us about yourself. Tell us how you found this book, etc.
I'm quite nervous. This is my first time on a non-fiction podcast.
Ooh, very exciting. I'm glad we could be your first.
This is my first time being myself on audio. But yeah, I read this book a while ago. It was, I think I first read it in 2024, in January 2024. And all I knew about it was it's ocean horror and there's lesbians. And I was like, yes, please.
That's all you need, really.
Yeah,
that's a good picture of itself.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then you read it, and now here you are.
Yeah,
Now here we are. Beautiful. Circle of life.
And Morgan has also read this book.
I have. I'm sorry.
Now you're allowed to read the book.
I got impatient. I had the audiobook hold back last summer when we thought we were going to record this last summer. And then the audiobook hold kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And then we both got really, really sick for a while.
Yeah, we were both like dead
and
for like 6 months.
I just caved and I read it.
Fair
I was
enough,
like, we might never do Bookcase again. Yada, yada, yada.
You were like, it's any day for me now. I've just got to read this before I expire, before I shuffle off this mortal coil.
So,
fair enough.
I read it second half of last year. And now here we are.
And I haven't read it up until now. So
dun, 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 dun. And I think I had it confused with another book, The Weight of Blood, I think, which is like a YA Carrie-esque horror novel, I believe. I think they have similar covers, and that's why I was like, yeah, it's like cosmic horror and like very aesthetic horror with a little bit of like mermaids, not what we got instead, which is very scientific horror, one could say.
This is a different vibe for sure.
Reread it or re-listened to it because I did the audiobook.
Same.
Very recently, so it is fresh in my brain. Not as fresh as it should be because my brain doesn't work. Yeah, I remember the things that matter, which is lesbianism and mermaids.
Lesbians.
Exactly.
I agree.
So true. Shall we listen to Soren's Blind?
Let's go for it.
Into the Drowning Deep. I know nothing about this. I am recording this in Morgan's flat in the bathroom, so I'm very organised about it. I am going to guess shark mermaids, because all of the blood swirling on the cover gives me kind of a blood in the water, they can smell blood kind of vibe. And I think I've heard something about deaf representation as well, so that's the one thing I know going in. Also, I have a vague inclination that this is sapphic somehow, but again, don't know. Don't know if this is second world fantasy or fantasy set in our world. I'm unsure of the timeline, like if it's modern or not. Just completely going in blind. My wild prediction is gonna be that there is an underwater spicy scene. That's my wild prediction. Off we go.
Nope.
No. Unless you call
that should have been.
Somebody should have enjoyed a mermaid or a merman, I guess, in this case, as the case was, or a merperson.
You know, technically, most of the rooms in the ship are below the water level.
You know what? That's kind of true.
It works. So technically,
Technically, there was.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'll take it.
It's interesting you thought it was fantasy, because I would take this, like, obviously you didn't know going in, but like,
yeah,
I would barely, like, I describe this as speculative, but I wouldn't describe it as like fantasy or anything, because it's so science-based.
It's so scientific. It's like that there's a lot of realism to it with like how scientific it is.
I think I was just like, well, I know it's about mermaids, and mermaids aren't real. So that is my like full thought process.
That's what you think.
That's what I think.
We've established they live at the bottom of the trench.
Exactly. That's true. And they could. How would we know?
How would we know? Exactly. We've all read Our Wives Under the Sea here. We know the horrors beyond our comprehension.
You simply don't know until it's too late. So yeah, no underwater spice, really, technically.
Gosh darn.
But I knew that it was sapphic, and I knew that it had death rep. And I loved both of those aspects of it so much.
Oh, the death rep is so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was surprised by when I read it, because I was I think I'd heard that there was some disability representation. I didn't know what disability, and then I went in and I was like, there's two deaf characters. There's they use sign language. There's chronic pain representation, and there's autism. Like,
wow.
There was so much. I was so happy, and also like, I wouldn't expect from this author to get like, what's the word? Stock stereotypical representations, but they weren't that. It was like here's like a woman who's autistic, which is still not something that you see as much as you should.
And she's conventionally pretty and like a camera personality, and she's like, but she has like all of these little like scripts in her head, and that's like not the usual like autism representation you get. And the fact that she's a nerd, beautiful. Yeah. We all go to Comic-Con. We all know the vibe.
I love how Olivia, yes, she's called Olivia. I love that she was like allowed to be like unapologetically autistic. Like a lot of the time I feel like autistic characters are sort of watered down to just like quirky special interests, but like she is nerdy, she's super blunt, she's bad at eye contact, she misses social cues, she sucks at flirting, she's so me. And I also think that being a like TV personality, and it was like quite a cool thing, because it's sort of not really, well, yes, I don't know what I'm saying. I do know what I'm saying. It's sort of like the stuff that can be said about like masking, and like sort of an exploration of how she like presents herself as different on camera than she is off camera. And like obviously everyone's different on camera than they are on camera, but like I think her being an autistic character, there's like a lot to be said about like masking and stuff. And yeah,
I feel like it added a lot of layers to that. And there was that lovely conversation she has with Tori where she's like talking about like real Olivia versus camera Olivia. And then she says something along the lines of like, oh, which Olivia am I talking to right now? And Olivia's like, I don't know. I think like mostly real Olivia, but I don't know. Which I thought was like an interesting like kind of exploration of like that toll of like masking, where it's like, am I even masking? I don't even like really know, or like It's just so much of a habit that, like, even not necessarily around people that I would want to, I've fallen into that.
Yeah.
Also, just a fun subversion for her to be the autistic one on, like, a ship full of scientists.
Yes.
Yes.
I also loved, like, I obviously Olivia is an exception to this because she's a lovely person. She's a lovely character, but I have said multiple times, I love it when disabled characters are allowed to be nasty and mean. And that is, and that doesn't fit Olivia, but it does fit, what's his name?
Blackwell. Theo.
Blackwell, yeah, I can't remember his first name.
Theodore Blackwell?
Theodore Blackwell, yes, that's him. He is like a nasty, nasty man and also disabled. And I love when disabled characters are allowed to just have, like, personality, even if that personality is the worst.
I think because we have so much representation in this book, you're allowed to have that. And, like,
yes.
It's refreshing. And also, if you're in pain all the time, you're going to be a bit of a... Like,
yeah.
It's just how the world works.
On a bad pain day, I am such a people, and they don't deserve it. But I'm sorry, guys. It's the pain talking.
Exactly. It's like we've all three of us have chronic pain. What a fun selection of people to be doing this book. But for people who are listening who don't, it's like, you know, obviously you can imagine, like, if you were being, like, I don't know, stabbed with needles every 5 minutes or something, you probably wouldn't be, like, super polite to somebody. You know, it can make it difficult, you know?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just like a tiny bit.
Yeah. And then the twins are also quite bitchy, which I love for them.
They are. I love them so much.
I have to say, like, first time I read this book, I read it in, like, a day or two as an audiobook. And the second time I audiobooked it as well. And when I got to I can't remember what the twins are called. I don't remember. I'm so bad with names. There were so many characters in this book.
Yeah.
Which one's the one who dies first?
Heather's the one who dies first.
Cool. Yes. When she got into that submarine, I actually had to stop and wait until the next time I was walking home from, like, a night out and I was drunk to, like, listen to it, because I was like, I actually am, like, I feel so sick listening to it because it's so inevitable. And you're like, maybe she'll get out this time. And then she doesn't. And I had to wait until I was like, I need something to soften the blow. And it's either turning it down and until I can barely hear it, or it's being slightly tipsy. Because it's just so devastating.
I did not remember how early it happened, and I was not prepared. I was on the bus to uni. I was just like, I can't deal with this right now, because it's so harrowing. Like, it's the whole time she's in the submersible. It's like so claustrophobic. It's such a claustrophobic scene, and I was like really impressive writing how much that affected me, because I was like, I felt like I was in there with her, and I was like, no, we're gonna die.
I love that moment when she turns the lights on and then there's like hundreds more of them than she thought there was.
Yeah.
That's so spine crawling.
Yeah. And like it does happen so early, and because you're still like with the rest of the scientists, you're sort of like, yeah, it's a bit of a joke. We don't know how vicious they're going to be. Maybe there's communication that can happen, and then no. Especially that first time, you're like, oh no, and there's no running away from it. There's no ship. There's no anything.
It is a really good like introduction to the mermaids, though. Like that's the first time like someone actually encounters them, and it's like so like these things are gonna kill all of us. Oh, okay.
And I feel like with horror, I mean, literary horror is always like quite hard to scare people with, I feel. But especially with horror in general, you usually pick off the sort of extraneous characters first. I feel like you don't kill off the ones that have names and backstories and people on board who care about them.
Yeah.
So for Heather to go first, you're like, oh, maybe none of them are going to survive this, actually. Maybe this is just like a parable saying, hey, maybe don't f*** the sea.
Yeah.
Like, they could all die. No one is safe. We're in Game of Thronesing right now.
Like, a lot of the time in horror, I'm like, why did you do that? That's stupid. Why would you go into the place where the monsters are? But like, I feel like in this book, it actually makes sense because they're scientists. And they're like...
That's a good point, actually.
They're like... This is for my research. And if you've ever met a scientist, you know, like, how they will do anything for their...
Yeah.
For their...
I'll just lick this mystery substance. I'll just...
Yeah.
Fine.
And I was like, I got to pay off those student loans. Come on. Crazy.
Yeah. I definitely was having that, like, reader thing of kind of doing... Because obviously, you know, she's sinking, and then they're like, come back up, and she's like, no, and it's like, what? Come back up. What are you doing? But it does, I suppose, make sense with that. I feel like it was well established enough with her character, that moment specifically, that you were like, yeah, she wants to be the one to like discover this. Like, she has enough desire for chaos, if you will, that she's like, it doesn't matter.
Her hubris got the best of her.
Her hubris. She would have killed it in the Trojan War, however.
She would have killed it against the real original sirens from Greek mythology.
I feel like, yeah, that's more manageable. You just have to plug your ears. Fine. These guys don't care about singing to you. They just want to eat you.
They're singing a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
they're going...
And also doing that little, like,
that's my
thing.
interpretation of a ship's horn. So I hope everybody enjoyed that.
I thought it was whale song. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a Foley artist, guys.
Audio drama, you have to do all of the sound effects yourself with your mouth.
Yeah. Exactly. Easy.
I think that's a good concept. I stand by it. Oh, representation-wise as well, loved that Dr. Toth was plus size. They were very like casual, matter of fact about that. It was just like a nice thing to see. Yeah. I read Manhunt right after this, which also had like a very prominent fat character. I was just like, yay! Look at all these doctors. I'm having a great time.
I love Dr. Toth. Like I love she's like, guys, trust me, mermaids are out there. And then she gets there and she's like, oh, the mermaids are out here.
Another case of hubris.
Honestly. In fairness, she didn't go in the original one because she was like, I don't want to mess with the mermaids. The mermaids have their own business.
I mean, she said that, but her main reason was because she wouldn't retain like rights to her work, right? So she was she was hubristic in that one as well, I feel like.
Yeah. Can we talk about Imagine's whole deal for a second? What are they doing? They were like, we sent a ship full of people out into over the Mariana Trench, and we're just going to do that again. And it's fine.
But this time we've set up some shutters that don't work. And some game hunters that are more interested in, again, chaos than actually killing the damn thing.
And also we've hired some security guards, but basically because they're hot.
Yeah.
Like, who is managing?
God forbid anybody knows how to shoot a gun.
Honestly.
Yeah, like what are they doing? Like, yeah, we're gonna send you to the place where loads of people died, where your friends and family all disappeared, got lost at sea. We're sending you there. Have fun. Bye.
Great. with no security measures, really. I'm just like, you already had a PR disaster. Why are you like doing everything in your power to craft a bigger PR disaster? Like, from a purely cynical point of view, forget the loss of human life. You're a corporation, you don't care. But like, this looks really stupid.
It's because the guy who's in charge is like, I'm dying, I need one last hurrah. Either I
need to kill a bunch of people
before the consequences hit me, or we make one of the biggest discoveries known to man and we put ourselves in the history books.
I feel like regardless of having put yourself in the history books with this, your name is blackened forever by how absolutely irresponsible you are.
I feel like just as soon as the shutters failed the first time, turn around and go home. Yeah. What are we doing? If you're going to put shutters in, wait until they work.
Yeah, they were like, don't worry, guys. We have 2 people who know how to shoot guns, and the 2 people in question are absolutely insane.
Literally. It's like, no, don't worry, guys. We have these 2 big game hunters, and then you like swing the camera over to them, and they're just like making out in the corner, but also like engaging in some knife play, probably. It's like, well, hang on.
They were so funny as characters. Like, what is their deal? I need to know more about them. Why are they that insane?
What happened to them in their lives?
Also, the much love to the audiobook narrator, but the accents were crazy.
I switched about halfway through because I was like, I'm running out of time, and it became available. So I was like, great, I can switch to listening to it. Fantastic. And then I was really blindsided by those accents because obviously they say what they are, but I was surprised.
Yeah.
They committed to the bit, and
yeah. I love how you say became available, as if I wasn't the one in front of you in the queue at the library who blitzed through it in under 24 hours and went, I need to get it to Soren as fast as possible.
Morgan finished, and I was like, oh, yay, there it is. This is the curse, bookworms, of being on the book club podcast together and trying to read the same thing, but also being on the same library system. Morgan texted me the other day, like, are you the one with this audiobook? And I was like, yeah, it is me. I was like, I'll return it. You have it first, then we'll swap.
Thanks, bestie. The delights.
These are the behind the scenes issues that we run into.
I'm just imagining you both like running for the same book. Like,
it did literally happen with Drowning Deep, because we were like, oh, we'll do that one next, and I was like, great, there's only like one person has it, so I'll grab it and I'll be next in the queue. And I was talking to Morgan and I got distracted, and then I like popped myself in the queue, and then I was like, oh, I'm third now. And Morgan was like, yep, because I'm second.
In person on the bed together. Beautiful.
Betrayed right in front of my eyes.
I'm so sorry. But yeah, when I was reading this book, I was imagining, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, in season 1, there's that hunter lady with like the huge creature that can like sniff people's scents and then follow people around. She's got like a really long black ponytail and like burgundy outfit, and she's like every sapphic person's like, vibe. Very Shigo coded. Maybe she's not in season 1, maybe she's in a different season. But that's who I was imagining for the lady hunter. I don't know.
June is her name.
June. There we go. June. That's who I was imagining.
That's a good mental picture. I like it. I was fully like imagining, which is an insult to his name, Steve Irwin, the French Canadian guy. Because they were like Australian and like wildlife and big game, and I was like, no, he would never do this. But it just got into my head, and I was like, no, I'm just picturing Steve Irwin, even though he would never do this. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry, Steve Irwin. He wasn't even the Australian one, but somehow that was still what my brain decided to do, and I went, no, that's not it. But
I was picturing Frank from season 2 of Criminal Minds. That reference will probably go over most people's head.
I have not seen enough Criminal Minds to understand this, unfortunately.
Alas. Well, he's the biggest serial killer that they've ever faced up to that point, because, character escalation.
They got to keep doing more.
Everybody's obsessed with the showdown scene, which I think is kind of mid, but like the main character goes like, you did all this all because your mother was a it's like, mic drop.
Bizarre segue, but speaking tangentially of character appearances, what do we think of the cover?
Oh, it's pretty. Pretty.
I love the warping effect on the text that makes it look underwater. Big fan of that.
Yes.
It's very subtle.
I like the color scheme.
I feel like it doesn't give much about the book, though. I feel like I wouldn't have picked this up if I hadn't known. If someone hadn't recommended it to me.
I agree. It does not give off the scientific vibe.
No, it doesn't.
But I kind of appreciate it in the sort of like, these days, covers seem to be like some curly images and a sword and nothing else. So I kind of like how like understated it is, but sort of like still visceral.
Yeah, it like, and like for people who like to go in not knowing anything, it's a good cover for that.
Just looking at the covers of her other books. Red.
Yeah, for listeners who may not know, Mira Grant is Seanan McGuire in a fancy hat.
What?
Whoa.
It's a pen name. This is so funny. I'm so glad that I waited until the podcast to talk about this. I only found out because I was announcing our schedule and I was tagging authors. So I was trying to find Mira Grant's stuff. And it seems like McGuire has mostly just been like, I'm not really using the Mira Grant accounts anymore. I'm still using the pen name, but like, just tag me in Seanan McGuire and stuff. I wish listeners could see Morgan's expression right now.
This is so funny.
I'm just looking at the copyright page, like, yeah, Seanan McGuire.
I found out while I was doing my first read of the book, and I was equally as shocked as Morgan is right now.
That's interesting, because I feel like I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Like, this kind of feels like McGuire's vibes, which is also interesting, because I was like, why on earth is McGuire using a pen name if they obviously also don't use a pen name? And I was Googling it, and they were like, because I want to have like a different set of expectations with my like horror and sci-fi novels than with my fantasy novels. Like, I don't want people to go in expecting like a certain kind of vibe and then not getting that vibe at all. So I wanted like a degree of separation. But I was still like, I feel like there's something quintessentially the same. But also I haven't read as much Seanan McGuire as Morgan, who is an expert. So I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
Like, the diversity makes more sense now, I guess. Yeah, for sure. But damn. She really can do everything. Jesus Christ.
This is so I feel like you're in shock. I feel like we need to get you like a blanket.
I'm like, wow, I'm really diversifying my authors. I put this under like new author when I first read it. And now I'm like,
that's so funny.
It was Seanan McGuire in a trench coat.
That's how they
Again.
Get you. Indeed.
Play's over, everybody go home.
That's it. We can't top that. Sorry, that's the most exciting thing that's going to happen this episode. Is Morgan discovering that this is just.
Can't wait to see how high my audio peaked.
Yeah, it's right on the Goodreads page as well for Mira Grant.
I read too many books to look up every single author.
That's very fair, to be honest. But you know, she's writing too fast. That's impressive.
Where does she get the time?
I don't know.
What is she doing? She's dropping like every Heart of Doorway book once a year, and then horror books, and then comics, and then she did like a Marvel What If book, and then there's like the other fantasy under the third pen name, and then there's the October Day series, which seems to be churning out every single year.
She's just she's just juggling a bunch of wigs for her pen names. And
you know, I'll be confident that she hasn't cloned herself, and then maybe this clone wanted a new name, so the official reason is, I wanted some separation with my work and the genres, but actually one of the clones has gone, no, I have my own identity. I'm Mira.
That's
Mira. The conspiracy is deep.
You can't fool us. We're on the case.
This in itself would be quite a fun sci-fi novel concept, actually. Pen name was actually a clone.
Gasp.
Some podcasters stumble onto the conspiracy, just trying to write their tweets.
I feel like I must have seen that somewhere. I've definitely seen that trope somewhere. Where the clone just becomes like a second person. Oh my God, it's at the end of season 2 of Witch.
There you go. It's pretty prominent in Maximum Ride as well, weirdly. Not a good execution of it by any means, but it was definitely a thing that happened.
Certainly occurred.
It certainly occurred. Speaking of clones, this is another weird segue. Speaking of people, characters, do we have favorites? There are quite a lot of people here to pick from. It's a tricky one.
I feel like you should go first, Soren, since you're the new reader. Yeah.
Oh my God, I actually don't know.
Turn it back on you.
But
you asked the question, you got to be ready to answer.
No. Can I say specifically the mer creature that was trapped and like learning to communicate with the scientists and like getting some sign language in there and mimicking Dr. Julian's voice? I just enjoyed their presence. That was a fun scene. And there was
they were just chilling.
Yeah. And I feel like if we had just slowed down, like, okay, sorry to all these scientists, but why were they being so like, yeah, they're evil, I'm going to kill them all? They are just eating. You're scientists. You came into their house and you basically are the equivalent of like a steaming Nando's hot from the shop, covered in peri-peri salt, delicious, succulent. And you walked yourselves in unannounced. They don't even know that you're conscious. You don't even know that they're conscious. You're all trying to figure stuff out. And then when they were like, oh, I'm going to take a little bite, you were like, how dare you? How could you do that? You know? So I had a little bit of like annoyance for every side, just like a dose. Where I was like, guys.
Yeah.
They're just like little, you came into their house and they're hungry. What are they supposed to do? You know, they're just little guys. And there's one big why. Mostly they're just little guys.
Yeah. I feel like that's why I enjoyed Tori, because I feel like once she figures out that they are sentient, she's like, oh yeah, they did kill my sister. However.
That's fair. Yeah, Tori went in being like, let's kill them all. And then she was like, hang on.
Unfortunately, I am a scientist. And therefore.
But yeah, I feel like I was having one of those horror novel experiences where I was like, I'm kind of on the horror team. I'm kind of pro horrors.
Yeah.
Sorry to the humans in this novel.
They're just trying to eat.
No.
Yeah. That's like if I was going to sound something that sounds crazy. I was about to say that's like if a pizza walked into your house, you're eating it.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like a free delivery. And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't remember ordering human, but if you insist.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell them they've got the wrong address. I'm just going to taste it. I'll even tip the delivery driver.
Oh. That scene where Olivia's cameraman, whose name I've forgotten, I'm so sorry, gets dragged off the side.
Is he called Ray?
I like the cameraman.
Yeah,
Ray.
I feel like he's called Ray, but I could be wrong.
I believe you. If not, we're disrespecting his memory even further. But you know what? He's right now. It's fine.
Yeah. He's just
Tragic.
like, yeah, I will go to bat for this little tiny lady. And I love that.
Had a cute
An
dynamic.
icon. Yeah.
Hmm.
Trying to find the chapter with
I
the
also
dolphins.
felt that the captain was just so laissez-faire in that scene. Like, she's screaming and shouting for help and then standing by this pool of blood. And they're like, what happened? And she's like, unable to speak. And they're like, what happened? And they're standing there for so long. And I'm like, you know what happened.
Wait, what do
We've
you
seen them
think
now.
happened?
What do you think has happened? We've seen the footage of the old one. We know that it's real footage. We've also had a submersible accident already. Now somebody has vanished and there's a pool of blood. What do you think has happened? Like, just... Like, her period didn't suddenly start. Like, what do you expect has happened?
He's just going... He's like the NASA people who are like, how many tampons could you need? 100? He's like, that's what it looks like when somebody gets their period, right? And they're not prepared. Bruh.
But yeah, to be fair, I'll give Ray question mark my honorary favorite character status, because what a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did really like him, because there was the bit that was like he could have like left Imagine and taken other jobs, but he stayed for Olivia, and I was like, that's so cute. Yeah, I really like Olivia. I just like I like that she's not a scientist, and she is like she is like, okay, tell me what that means. You're speaking you're speaking like a scientist right now. Talk to me like a normal human.
I liked that she figured out the based on the cat thing when they had all gone quiet. She was like, we're about to feed. That's it.
Yeah.
Comparing it to cats chittering at birds when they're just playing. That was fun. And that was like a good, believable moment of like sort of civilian insight, where everyone else is so like wrapped up in like the science of what they're doing that they like miss something obvious. And it was kind of nice to see like Olivia's like different way of looking at it come through for them there, where she was like, oh my God, quick. I actually thought early on that Olivia and, I'm forgetting her name as well, the older sister of the twins.
What is her name? Because I really liked
Haley
her
or
as well.
Hallie?
It was one of them.
Hallie?
I think it was Hallie.
I thought Hallie was the other twin. I
don't know. They all had like similar names. One of them was Holly.
Like, there's Hallie,
One of
Heather,
them was
and Holly.
Yeah.
You're right. Hallie was the older
Hallie was
sister.
the older one.
Yes.
Kind
I
of an
thought
icon.
Hallie and Olivia were going to have a vibe because they had that scene in the pool. And they're kind of checking each other out a little bit. And I was like, what's going to happen here? And then I was kind of blindsided by Tori. I was like, whoa, okay, never mind. We're going a different direction. There's so much sapphic yearning on this boat.
It reminded me a lot of the dynamic between the sapphics in 13 Stories. It's kind of like, yeah, we all went through the horrors together, but we got a sapphic relationship out of it. So
it kind of
you.
Yeah. I do always find it crazy when in a horror novel people are like making time for intimate activities in this circumstance. I get that it's like, oh, we might die, we're gonna do it while we can, but I'm just like, whoa, somebody just died, guys, but all right, good for you.
Especially with like how short the timeline is, and like how like they have not been on this boat long at all.
No. I've got to admit, I wasn't fully sold on Tori and Olivia. I feel like they maybe tried to make it. I think it was just that there was like moments where they were like, oh my God, I want to introduce her to my parents. We can't die now. And I'm like, already? It's
been like 3 days.
Exactly. I can imagine like, I really want to see where this connection with this like cool, cute girl who I like really like goes. I don't want to die. It would be one thing, but like, are we getting married? Like, what's happening? Like, maybe they're just U-hauling. I'm a gay man. I can't judge. So.
There was that bit that was like, I think Olivia said it, and she was like, once we get out of here, like Tori was like, well, what if we die and I never see you again? And then Olivia was like, once we've known each other for days. Once we get out of here, we can see like where this is going. But and I did like that they included that, because I was like, I'm not believing that you are in love with each other after a few days. You can be you can be like interested in one another. You are not thinking about introducing your parents.
Well, to be fair, we are forgetting the age-old practice of U-hauling.
Yeah,
true.
None of
and
us
admittedly,
here.
the trauma bonding has to contribute somehow. But I was a bit like, this seems like a lot. They were cute though. I liked the like showing her around the lab scene. That was very cute.
See, I've known lesbians who have moved in together and gotten a dog within a month of knowing each other. So I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
That's true, actually.
Every time I say something like this on the podcast, I also remember that my mum technically proposed after 6 weeks, so I can't really,
I have a friend, and my friend, I hadn't seen her for like a week, and I'd heard that like she had a date that week, and I was like, oh, how have you been? I haven't seen you in ages. And then she was like, oh yeah, I've been busy. I started a lesbian relationship. And I was like, in a week? I thought you were just going on a date.
Like a first date. Oh my God. I respect it. You know what? If you see what you want, you go for it. Good for you. No commitment issues here, or perhaps a different kind. But that's not for me to judge.
My favorite character is Twitter the dolphin.
That's such a good answer, actually.
Yes, I love the dolphins.
Like dolphins who are just like, yeah, I know I'm gonna die, but anyway, moving
I'll die
on.
a free man or a free dolphin.
Yeah.
That's the case for me.
Exactly. Just insane that Theo's like, I didn't think they'd die that quickly. Bro,
Yeah.
what did you expect? Heather died like 20 minutes ago.
Literally.
Yeah.
Also, you've seen the footage of the previous incident where everybody died and there were no bodies.
What did you think was going to happen? Damn.
Mermaid abuse, dolphin abuse even.
Yeah. But I really liked the point of view chapters we got from the dolphins and also from the mermaids. And the way I love when writers go all out with the sort of othering language when they're writing, and they sort of make it feel so alien in the way that they sort of describe the internal monologue. I love that process and the sort of like the seeing it through their eyes. Yeah. Thought it was really well done.
I kind of wish we'd had a little bit more of that, because I really did enjoy it. Dolphin POV and mermaid POV alike.
Please.
I'd read a whole book that was just dolphin POV.
Real.
I think Pod is just dolphin POV. It was up for the Women's Prize a few years ago. So there you go, very specific recommendation.
There's this book my coworker lent me like 2 years ago, which I still haven't read. It's called Salt Lick. And it's the apocalypse, but from the point of view of like a herd of cows who are just like trying to find different like food and stuff like that.
Oh my
and it's
God.
entirely from their point of view. And there's other stuff going on in the background, but they're like, Salt Lick.
That's so
I definitely
cool.
need to read it. It's in my locker at work and has been for over a year.
I absolutely have to read this as well. I love this. Xenofiction, my beloved.
Good soup.
Very good soup. I was expecting you to say Theo, Morgan. I can't lie. I'm surprised.
Nah.
No?
He didn't do it for me.
Wow. Okay.
I think, like, I love a good chronic pain rep. And, I love a good morally grey man. However...
Who's been through a divorce, but it's not a divorce?
It was just like, yeah, I get... Like, the thing I need about morally grey men is morally grey men who have, like, very few morals, but those morals they do have are, like,
Solid.
rigid.
Mm.
And this man used to be a bloody climate activist and is now working in a cushy corporate job where he sends people to their death. And I'm like, unfortunately, you snapped one too many morals for me, my guy.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I
I'm thinking of the characters who you do like, and it's like, no, the corporate slave thing is just too much. I can't do it.
Exactly. As soon as you shell out for the corporation, I'm sorry.
If you're like a serial killer or something, but if you're shelling out for a corporation, then I don't
Exactly. God forbid.
No, I
in this house.
I did like him, but like I was just like as a character, I liked him, but I was like, I can't get over the you being a nasty corporate man.
Yeah, it would be abysmal to interact with in real life for sure.
I did really enjoy him being high for the when everything was happening.
I think he probably had the best time out of anybody on that boat.
Absolutely.
If I die, at least I go out happy.
I love that Dr. Tarth just like lied to him about the weed. It's like, no, it's only for medicinal purposes. You can't get high off it. Don't worry. Don't worry, beloved husband. I wouldn't drug you.
Because he was sitting there being like, okay, yeah, it's fine. And then like at some point he went, hang on a second. Hang on a minute.
Hang on.
Wait a second. I did love all of the like little sciencey bits in this. Like the sonar being how they figured out where they were and stuff.
Yeah.
It was very fun. Like, I think it was explained in a very accessible way. Like when Tori first had that discovery, like you really didn't know very much at all. Like in that scene when she's like having dinner with her parents and gets interrupted, that everything is like laid out very neatly. I think that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this thing that I basically, at least for me, knew nothing about going in. I can understand like why it's significant that like these are the results you're getting, which was fun.
Yeah, because I am clueless when it comes to anything vaguely scientific. But like I still very much was able to follow what was happening, which I appreciate a lot. But yeah, I really love how everything was sort of described with ocean imagery, and that was I love a good ocean metaphor. I love a good watery language. I love when something that is not the sea is described like the sea.
Yes. I also love how the writing style felt not clinical exactly, but kind of like it was a report that had been put together. Even though it was like delving into everybody's brains. I feel like it was third person omnipotent, which very rarely works in my opinion. And I usually hate it with a burning passion, but it just pulls off so well here that I was like, I don't care. I love this. Like just jumping in and out of people's heads. I feel very few people can pull off third person omnipotent.
I think it lends itself well to the horror genre because obviously with horror, you're like, there's an impending tragedy here. Like this obviously isn't going to turn out well. Like how badly it turns out is up for debate, but with that third person omnipotent voice, if it's saying sort of like ominous things, you're like, well, yeah.
Because and jumping into so many heads means no one's safe because you're not like, usually you're like, oh, the POV character isn't going to die though. Whereas with this, it's like, you never know. We've had
and they kill one off early enough that you're like, who knows?
I will say that at the beginning of the book, and sometimes I was getting confused because there's so many characters. I was just like, wait, guys, whose brain are we in right now? Wait, what's going on? But I think I did get the hang of it as it went on. It was just like a lot of characters being introduced at once. And like, I'm guilty of too many characters syndrome in my own writing, so I can't criticize other people for it. And it did work because like it's a like research scientific boat thingy. There's going to be lots of people doing lots of different things, but like just at first I was like, wait, where are we? Who is this? What's going on? Someone help.
I do think the matching H names for the Wilson sisters was a choice. I was like, what? Why would you do this?
Who is he?
And they're all 2 syllables as well. Please. Like, I know that it's a thing that parents would do, and it like does lend you a lot about, like, you immediately understand a little bit about them because you're like, oh yeah, these are the kinds of parents that give their children matching sets of names, which is like
stupid. This was a rule in my family that I was explained. Like, they explained it to me when my youngest sibling was born. They were like, each of you will have a different first letter of your name. It'll be different from all of us, because if post comes addressed to, say, M. Greensmith, we know which M. Greensmith we're talking about.
That's actually a very smart idea.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fools! Otherwise.
I say that if I don't have a matching name with my cousin that I intentionally kept matching when I changed my name, but that was a choice, at least the second time. So But from a novel point of view, what are we doing, guys? I'm trying to learn all these new characters' names, and also they look the same. 2 of them are identical, so I can't recognize them based on that. So help me.
I have just looked up the Aitagatis as what it's from, and it is a Syrian fertility goddess who is often represented as a mermaid or a fish. So,
makes sense.
With
the classics corner of the day.
What am I saying? The Aitagatis is the one that died, isn't it? The boat.
Yes.
The boat
it's
that
one
died.
Also named after like a type of mermaid as well. So they're really keeping to the dramatic echoing of the terrible past that they really shouldn't be trying to dramatically echo. Imagine. They're like, we'll just name it basically a version of the old thing. And we'll put the sister of the girl that died on it, and it'll be fine.
I do love how the Aitagatis sort of haunts the narrative. Like, the whole boat is just like constantly, like, you're just constantly reminded that, like, we've done this before and it ended terribly. And I think that's like a really good setup for like the horror that is to come. Just like we're doing it again, guys. Oops. But yeah, I think the fact that like most people on the, like, a lot of the people on the boat are like have connections to people who like died on the original one. It's like very interesting.
Adds good emotional stakes.
Yeah.
With the Aitagatis, this might be a controversial take. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts, both of you. But I kind of wish that we didn't get that prologue scene with the camera footage being explained in as much detail, at least as early as we got it. Because to me, that kind of took out some of the tension of, like, obviously you're reading a horror mermaid book, you know that the mermaids are going to be real. But the fact that we had already had, like, quite comprehensive descriptions of what they looked like and how they worked and how they were going to hunt, for me, kind of messed up the pacing, the building of the tension, because it was like, we've already immediately had this like release of tension where we've seen this really scary thing, and then we've gone back to like slow build up. I feel like that's probably a subjective take. I think a lot of people would say, well, no, because then it's like we're hurtling towards this conclusion again. But at least for me, I like a bit of ambiguity and mysteriousness to like whatever the horror thing is, and revealing it so early kind of made me think like, oh, okay, so we know what we're dealing with. Obviously, we kind of don't because it's a later twist, but weirdly as well, and this is the most subjective thing ever, very early on, I went, I wonder if they're like anglerfish. just like out of nowhere. And then that was like the big twist. So I was like, well, that's my fault. That's on me for just liking fish and reading about fish sometimes. So.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been cool to like get that part, like get the protagonist scene like after, like maybe like after Heather's death, because like then we could have like we are encountering them at the same time as she is, because like we already know what they look like and what they do, but
yeah, I think personally I feel like I would have left that until after the first death as well, because then that like first meeting is already so impactful, but I feel like it's undermined by the choice to like have let the audience already see them, or the reader already see them. And then I feel like some small tweaks, easily it could be that the characters don't get the footage until that point either, maybe, so that you're in it with them.
I just love the dramatic irony of being like and I think with the, not to be cynical about the publishing industry, but you know, they really do love to be like, yeah, you have to have your inciting incident in like the first page. Have fun. So I feel like this book definitely went, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, I can see strong arguments for both, so I'm almost a bit unsure, even as I'm saying it, kind of thing.
Yeah. I just love that sort of like bloodiness at the very beginning, and then you're lulled into a full sense of security, so that when Heather goes down, it's sort of that moment of like, I know how this should end, but I've been lulled into this space of like, it's not going to end like that though. And then it gets close and you're like, oh no. Oh, okay. It feels very, I like that sort of like denial on the part of the reader.
Could everything have been solved, do you think, if they just brought them like loads of fish to eat? Just like loads of salmon.
Maybe.
Just feel like if you're going to introduce yourself to like another sentient and sapient species, just have like a little bit of food. You know, just be like, hey,
gift. You know,
eat
especially
this and
if
not
you're
me.
in their house.
Yeah.
You know, it's the rules of Xenia. It's like, if you come to a person's house, you must give them like guest gifts. I say as if guest gifts aren't the other way around, and I'm about to be shot for being a fake classicist. But still, you know, I feel like they could have a symbiotic relationship, you know, if they tried hard enough. I'm trying to think of other language-based like fantasy and sci-fi like this. Like you've got Arrival, and
it reminded me of Arrival a lot, especially the like importance of like signing to communicating with the beings.
Yeah, and then Babel.
I did really love the like when they were like taking the mermaid apart and like cutting it up, and I loved it. But I do kind of wish, because there was the like bit at the end where it was like, oh, there's actually a like massive female mermaid that is coming towards us. I wish we got more time with her. Like, I know everyone would have died, but but
she's a queen and deserves her moment.
You can't be like, oh yeah, there's a massive there's a massive one coming towards us, and then just like, oh, we fixed it. I wanted more time with her. A
glimpse of her, maybe.
I
think I agree with you there. Yeah.
I think Tori should have died, and I think it should have been with seeing like the big female mermaid. I thought like it suspended my suspension of disbelief a little bit when she survived falling in the water.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
And if
I was
they'd
like,
left her there and then she'd seen the female mermaid like firsthand, I think that could have been interesting. Or just throw someone else overboard.
I don't know how you would have done this, but if she had maybe somehow managed to still get the message about the light across despite falling in the water, and then she gets that like eldritch moment of like seeing it come and maybe even seeing the lights turn on so she knows that they're going to be okay, but she dies anyway. That could be like a good tragic moment.
Such a good tragic moment, such a good moment of the like the sublime and the terror and that sort of like rushing towards you, like the light growing brighter and brighter and brighter. It would be such a sort of like eldritch, as you said, moment. Yeah.
To be fair, at least Morgan and I felt like I'm quite biased towards like cosmic horror and stuff. So we're just like, what if it was bigger?
What if it was more unknowable? What if it ate people?
I mean, it does do that.
It does do that.
Objectively, it does do that.
What if it ate more people? Soren, as the new reader to this book, tell us your final thoughts.
I'm very happy that we finally got to read this. It was a long time coming and I enjoyed the reading experience a lot. It was very interesting and I deeply respect what Grant/McGuire has done here with merfolk. It's such a fun take on them. I really loved the anglerfish angle. Despite weirdly guessing it, I still think it's really cool. So respect. Pacing-wise and character-wise, I feel like there was a little bit to be desired from me here. I just feel like I think I just wasn't as in the headspace with the characters as much as I wanted to be. Like, I think I wanted to be more like worried about their survival than I was. I was a little bit like, maybe it's that thing about being like, look, hang on, these are just little creatures and you guys are being kind of rude. Can you just leave them alone, please? But I wanted to be a little bit more invested. And I think it was maybe just having such a big cast. And I do appreciate like the logic of having such a big cast. And I think it was very well managed, all things considered. But I think it made it hard for me personally to form like individual connections with each character and to really root for them on that deeper level. But I had a really good time. And thank you, Alex, for recommending this.
Alex, as the guest.
I've read this twice now. When I first read it, it was immediately like, I'm obsessed with this book. I'm telling everyone to read it. And I do still love this book a lot. But I think I am my reread made me too nitpicky.
It happens.
Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? But yeah, I still do love this a lot. This is me definitely overthinking things and like thinking about it for too long. But and this definitely wasn't intentional. But the reveal of like the sirens being like male, we've sort of accidentally obviously they're not human, so this isn't like applicable, but we've sort of accidentally got a narrative of these predatory male creatures that have evolved to mimic the features of human women to lure in human men as prey, which is very easy to read as transmisogynistic vibes if you think about it for too long. But obviously they are not, and also with like the way some of the characters react to that reveal with shock and like disgust in some senses is like sort of like also reflective of that. But like they're fish. They are amphibians. There are loads of like fish who have like weird genders and weird stuff going on in that respect. But like when I was rereading it, that thought kept popping into my head. And I was like, if someone could interpret this really badly, which obviously not intentional at all, but like it was just like a thought that I like couldn't shake while I was rereading it, that hadn't like dawned on me when I was reading it for the first time. And like, yeah, that was just something that was in my mind while I was reading it.
That's a really good point, honestly. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I think you're right. Like that, I wouldn't ever think that would be intentional, like knowing the author and stuff. But you can, especially like in the current climate, it's like, ooh, interesting. Yeah.
Like I think
it had been written this year, then I'd be a lot more like, oh no.
Like the book came out in 2017, so like there's obviously because things have got so much worse recently, that's very much in the back of my mind while I was reading it, and it wasn't there when I was reading it for the first time. But I think that's a case of me like putting the current like political climate onto a book that was written a few years ago before things got that bad. But
you still got to think about it.
Yeah.
Because people will still read it today and they'll take what they take from it.
Exactly. Yeah. I was a bit like, it was a bit of a peeve for me as well that the scientists were so weird about the mermaid thing, and the male thing was kind of supposed to be such a big twist. I was a bit like, why have we been assuming anything about your scientists? Do you know what I mean? Like, I would understand civilians, I don't know, random people, but I was a bit like, is this supposed to be like a big deal? Particularly like sea creatures aren't very differentiated. The vast majority of them, obviously anglerfish are, which is why we get this big like reveal here. But if you like look at a shark, you can't tell a shark's sex by just looking at it.
Even the like the male being like a twist that's meant to shock people is very reminiscent of like transphobic narratives, and it's because it's used as shock value like so much in media, and like not intentional because they're amphibians. But like again, just I think reading this book as a trans person, it's hard to like not make that connection, even when it like very, very clearly knowing that the author would never be intentional. But yeah, still enjoyed it very much the second time around, even if I did have like more criticisms this time around. I think I originally gave it 5 stars, which I've now dropped to 4, but it's still like very, very good book that I very much enjoy and will continue to recommend to people.
This reminds me of how in like crime dramas, whenever they like at the beginning of the thing, they're like, the unsub, I don't know how he would have done this. And as soon as they start gendering in one way, you're like, it's going to be a woman. It's going to turn out to be a woman. Like, don't just never gender things to start with. Come on, guys. until we're sure.
Yeah. Morgan, do you want to finish us off with your final thoughts?
Yes. I too have read this twice now. I really enjoyed it. It's very outside my usual frame of sci-fi and horror. I usually love a bit more cosmic, a bit more eldritch, a bit more, not whimsical exactly, but definitely more sort of dreamlike, I guess. More sort of things can't be wrapped up and things can never be known. And it always leaves you a bit like, whoa, I don't understand what happened, but it sure did happen. Whereas I really enjoyed this. I think I wouldn't enjoy it from most writers, but especially now I know that it was Shane McGuire, I'm like, Okay. Yeah.
It all
Already
makes
anything right.
sense.
It all makes sense. Exactly. Yeah. Solid. Loved it. Good soup.
Do we have recommendations for people that enjoyed Into the Drowning Deep?
Arrival. Babel. Becky Chambers.
I've got a few that I wanted to talk about off the bat.
Yeah, you go.
For more mermaid horror, Chlorine by Jade Song, which is a sapphic novel about a competitive swimmer who is obsessed with mermaids to the point of wanting to become one. It's very vague about its speculative elements. You could read it about someone who is like fully delusional. You could read it out as if she's fully delusional and mermaids aren't real and that nothing that she thinks is happening. Or you could read it in a way where there's like a little bit of sort of magical realism stuff going on. But it's very different. I would say it's probably more like literary horror. It's kind of very much about like coming of age as like a young sapphic Asian woman and like dealing with the pressures of competitive sport. But would still highly recommend. It just kind of gave me a similar feel, a similar vibe. For more sea horror and more death rep, Deep Light by Frances Harding. Toxic Friendships.
Every episode.
Messed Up Sea Monsters. If you haven't read it already, please go read it. Well, I had one more, but now I'm forgetting. Does anyone else have anything?
Our Wives Under the Sea.
Our Wives Under the Sea, of course.
Yeah, for more sapphic, watery horror shenanigans. Also, not books, but I have 2 movies, which are Alien and The Thing, which aren't water. They're not sea horror, but it's very much the vibe of an unknown creature slowly picking off a group of people in an enclosed space, which very much fits the vibes, especially The Thing, because that is also a scientific research facility. It's not in the water, it's in Antarctica, but I think it's still... and also, if I can plug something that I've written, if that's allowed.
Yes, please do.
For my podcast, Tranthologies, which you have both written very good episodes for. I wrote an episode called The Silence of the Sea, which is a very queer sea horror thing, with everyone on a boat being killed by this sea creature, and it features the lovely voices of H.R. Owen and William Wellman, which some podcast people will know of. But it has William Wellman as a very eldritch sea creature, which is lovely, and would recommend, even though I wrote it. Would recommend. I did a good job.
The role they were born to play, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be remiss if we didn't say The Shape of Water. The seminal Guillermo del Toro.
I actually haven't seen The Shape of Water still. Shocking.
It's literally about a deaf woman learning to communicate with a sea creature.
Yeah.
And also learning how to...
Yeah.
So you heard my blind, you were like, that's really disappointing that nobody... Then there you go.
Yeah. Also the Silt verses.
Oh, absolutely.
Water-based, unknowable horrors. Beautiful.
I also wanted to toss in The Half-Life of Valerie Kay by Natasha Pulley, which is more thriller than horror, although horrifying things happen. But I would say that it would probably be enjoyable if you liked like the speculative, like sciencey elements. If you were like, oh, I like learning sciencey things, but that are being explained to me as somebody that is not a scientist. But I feel smart because the novelist has actually broken them down into digestible chunks for me. And there's like sciencey, horrifying twists in here. It is historical. It is set in Russia, and it is about a former prisoner who has been sent to work in a Chernobyl-esque radiation fallout zone. And it's gay.
Cool. Always good. Alex, tell us where people can find you.
Where can people find me? That's a good question.
Can find you in Spiritsford, looking at
I do a horror podcast called The Children of Room 56, and also I produce the podcast Tranthologies that Soren and Morgan are both very involved with, which is a anthology podcast written by, we have a different story written by a different trans person every month now. We're releasing monthly now. And that's always a fun time because we have a range of horror and fantasy and poetry and like anything that could any genre ever is probably in there somewhere. But yeah, you can also find me on Instagram at Frankenstein's Sex Change.
That's so good. How did I not know that that's your Instagram
what that
handle?
was?
Yes.
I've just been going like Frankenstein's Exchange and being like, wow, I don't know why you picked that, but okay. I understand now.
It is Frankenstein's Sex Change because I am very passionate about transgender Frankenstein's monster.
Mm-hmm.
As you should be.
Yes.
I was literally writing about that earlier today. I agree.
But Alex, thank you so much for being on. It was so lovely to have you.
Thank you for having me.
The second voice month. What could be better? I think you're the only person who's guested on a Moist Month episode, so I thank you.
They're all cowards.
Exactly.
They're afraid to get moist.
But not you.
Not you.
Not me.
MVP.
I embrace the moist.
We appreciate your your willingness to osmose. Next time, it will be September. And for once, we're not actually doing Dark Academia, very sadly, but we have something that might be even better, which is swords. Books with swords, characters with swords, anything with swords. This is a kind of vague theme, but we're going with it because it's a good pun. And for September, we will be starting off with Alexander Rowland's A Taste of Golden Iron. At long last, finally. It's been years. It's been so long. Can't wait to force Morgan to read this. Can't wait to finally be able to yell at Morgan about this.
Yes.
And that will be in your ears on September the 8th.
Woo. Until then, you're always welcome to the bookcase.
Don't forget to scritch the cat on your way out. Thank you for listening to The Hidden Bookcase, a production of Planar Prod. On this episode, you heard Alex Abrahams, Morgan Greensmith, and Soren Briarwood discussing Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. You can find Mira Grant tweeting from @McGuire, or visit her website at miragrant.com. A deep thank you to Alex for joining us for this episode. You certainly made a splash. You can find him at Alex Brahams on Twitter and Blue Sky. That's at AlexBrHams. Or find out more about his audio drama work at listlessnetwork.com. You can find The Hidden Bookcase on Twitter and Blue Sky at Hidden Bookcase, and on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, and TikTok at Hidden Bookcase Podcast. Find out more about Planar Prod at planarprod.com. Know what we should read next, or want to chat to us about what you thought of this episode's read? You can reach us at thehiddenbookcase@gmail.com, send us a DM on social media, or come chat with your fellow bookworms in our growing Discord server. The link is in the show notes. Want to support The Hidden Bookcase? Support us on Patreon for bonus episodes, audio outtakes, playlists, and other extras. Buy a book through our bookshop.org page, or consider leaving us a rating or review or telling a friend how to find us. Your whispers are the best way for bookworms to discover our show. For our next episode, which will be out on September the 8th, we'll be discussing A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexander Rowland. We hope to see you then, and in the meantime, you're always welcome through the bookcase.